Success in life is found upon attention to the small things rather than to the large things, to the everyday things nearest to us rather than to the things that are remote and uncommon. Booker T. Washington. My friends, each and every day we pay attention to the small things. We watch price movement. 10 to 15 minutes, that is all we ask. We practice trade. We find our quiver of stocks and ETFs that we find interesting. We can take arrows in and out, but each and every day we're becoming more and more familiar with them by working with them, following them, learning their personalities, and practice trading them. Let's jump into these charts. Of course, we have 5 that we look at each and every day for you. We always start with the first, which is the S&P 500. It is pulling back, as of course volume and Heikin-Ashi candlesticks have told us. Almost always right when we follow the rules, and the rules showed us things were rolling over. We still haven't hit the downstroke of last week. The low last week, as we look at this chart, was 537.45. This week, 538.52, down for the day a little over 0.5%, but going in the right direction. We chose not to trade this down move because we wanted to concentrate on the NASDAQ 100. It went up great for us in that prior up move, and of course it's going gangbusters for us in the down move, but still, nonetheless, the S&P is short. It is moving in the right direction. For those of you that traded it, you know it is nicely below the weekly trend line on the half day and on the 2-day and is heading down. Now, the one we traded, for a number of reasons, the setup was just beautiful. We had the interim high here on the week beginning the 8th of July, higher high, and then we had a red spinning top, almost a doji, not quite, and high volume, and then last week accelerating down, this week even lower. And of course, things moving in the right direction for today alone, down 1.37%. I will show you, of course, my trade. I did an actual trade on this. I've already cashed out of half of it. And I've also set the second profit line here at 2 times the average true range. We set our loss band here. We, of course, never got to the bottom. After we jumped in on Friday, that Friday the 19th, things pulled back a little bit on us. And then, of course, they took off on Wednesday. Would have been impossible to judge that jumping in point here. And of course, what happened? Well, by Thursday morning, things had already accelerated to a beautiful high, cashing us out of half the trade at a profit of 2.76%. Then, of course, we let the rest of it ride. It rode on through the week, pulled back a little bit on Friday and Monday, and then, of course, started taking off again today, booming up. I went ahead and set that second profit line. I just redid the little widget here for the long position, and I did it at 2 times the ATR. You can, of course, see the first ATR was 1.13. We, of course, doubled that to 2.26, and we are just waiting to hit. In fact, I can look at this and tell you. We'll call up from the settings. You can see that we are waiting for it to hit 43.26, and that will have given us, what, a profit of, let's see here, 5.51. So hopefully we'll get that high. Now again, one never knows what's going to happen with the market, so we will keep an eye on this. Don't want to lose what we've gained, but again, we are following this closely. PSQ is the single inverse of the NASDAQ 100. Now, you can use leveraged funds and all that, but that's just taking a whole lot more risk than I desire to take. Things continuing to move in the right direction. For those of you who are in this practice trade with us, you see that we are decently below the weekly trend line on the 2-day, well below on the half-day. Things are looking great. Now, the markets can always kick up. Fed meetings and those types of things can always turn it in another direction. So that's why as we go along, we want to take some profit so that we do have some of the market's own money to play with, and we're not just standing out there naked holding the bag. So that is why we use one ATR. It helps us look at the volatility over the last 14 periods. That we do that on the 2-day chart. We use the 2-day chart's ATR, not the weekly's ATR, not the half days. So it's a good compromise. And that average true range over a 14-day period, that's actually 28 days, right? 2 days, 2 times 14, 28 market days, gives us a good idea as to the volatility. And again, it seems to work time and time again if you wait for the right setup. This is where we are now. Let's move on to bonds. We are not in bonds because we don't know what bonds are doing. We don't have any volume that has helped us out to see any interim lows or interim highs to actually get us in. Bonds were up a little bit for the day. Heck, they were down last week. Or they were a doji last week. Lots of indecision. 2 weeks prior, they were up. Week before that, they were down. We're waiting for bonds to reset and give us some idea as to which way they're going to go. You know, we had such a great run down previously last year, such a great run up to the end of the year, and then things sort of meandered down until things turned around in May. But again, up for 3 weeks, down, then 3 weeks, down. So just not tradable right now, but that's okay. We'll just continue to watch, and when they are tradable, they are. What about gold? Up for the day 1%. We have another week with a doji. What is gold doing? I have no idea. No idea. We had an interim high here. We had a doji, just a complete doji, which tells us lots and lots of indecision. I would think that probably going down, but as we told you at the end of last week, not going to pull that trigger for a down move in gold. Would have to buy puts because there is no inverse fund that is liquid. DGZ is the single inverse in gold, but it is highly illiquid. That means, what that means is the bid and the ask are way spread apart. It's like buying a car and then going back a day later and trying to sell it back to the dealership. There's a big spread there, and you're not going to make that up easily. So we don't jump into illiquid stocks, illiquid ETFs ever. We just don't do it. Means they're lightly traded, means they're dangerous, means you don't want to do it. So we are waiting for gold to sort its way out. I'm thinking maybe it's going to go down, but I don't know. If you put a gun to my head, I would say down, but you're not putting a gun to my head, and I'm not pulling a trigger, and I'm not gambling. That is the way I operate. This is the way to be successful. Let's see what's going on HODL. That is the Bitcoin ETF that we track. As we look at it, we can, of course, see that it is an up week, but you can, of course, see that we've had a day and a half of down moves. You can see how it's herky-jerky gone up on the 2-day, 6 days, well, yeah, about 8 days of nice up movement. Then 2 days of pullback. That would have been the 24th and 25th of last week of July. Then we saw the Friday, Monday pop up on the 2-day, and then we saw things roll down today, down 2.10%. Nonetheless, we look at the weekly, and we can see that we do have this upward momentum. It may be up, it may be down, but it keeps on pushing further and further up. We'll pay a close attention to where we are on this 2-day. This is the Tuesday, first day of the latest 2-day candle. If we push through the weekly trend line, that'll show us even more weakness, but we'll see. What does Bitcoin tend to do? Well, we can see it moves up, pulls back, moves up, pulls back, moves up, pulls back, and is staying above the weekly trend line. If it drops below it, alarm bells will sound. If it doesn't, we'll see if it'll keep reaching, and hit that prior high that it hit back on the week beginning the 11th of March. Prior high 83.36, whereas Bitcoin right now at 74.57. That's where we are. Hope you enjoy following these charts with us. I sure enjoy bringing this to you each and every day. Patreon members, so appreciate your support. Underwriting the cost of the channel. You help make it free to everyone else. Thank you. God bless my friends. All the best from the whole team at Charting Wealth World Headquarters.